Hello, and welcome back to Ayahuasca Chronicles, a shamanic quest for deeper knowledge. I am Brittany the Great, and welcome back for another beautiful episode of this virtual journey that I'm about to take you on. It is a beautiful day. Let's pick up right where we left off. So, as I'm going through this death and rebirth that we were talking about in the last episode, I had explained to my family that I was going to be going through my divorce and everything, and nobody really understood it. My family had beliefs that I was raised, that he wasn't beating me or he wasn't doing this or that, and that, I should just kind of settle for things. And that's something that I had been raised and grown up around, and I started to deconstruct and understand how people's opinions and matters and how it affected me and my body's response to how people spoke to me. And again, I started to pay attention and become the observer for once in my life on what felt good and what didn't feel good. And I started to realize, as I spoke with people about advice, as I spoke to people about what I was going through, again, I started to realize that nobody really understood or had good advice for me. And there's this saying that really has stuck with me this whole journey. And it is, never take advice from somebody that you wouldn't trade places with. And that one really hit me. That one really stuck because for once I started to realize that I again was surrounded by people that I didn't want to live their lives. There wasn't one person that I could look at and say, I would trade places with you. So again, I started to observe. I started to realize that I had placed myself in these situations, that I had settled for these fake, this fake life, this fake persona, that I really wasn't deep down happy. I had gotten really good at putting on a show and recognizing that a lot of my show was external wounds projected from deep rooted generational trauma. Some things completely out of my control, even things that I am being affected by that I didn't even witness or encounter myself during this lifetime. Does that make sense? And I'm telling you, going from zero to hero, I've always been drawn to the esoterics, to the spiritual items growing up. I've always kind of had a tarot deck, but I've never understood it. And I was just always really drawn to the scary movies, the witchy things, okay? The talking to ghosts, okay? That was always something that I loved, but boy, I knew none of this. And again, that's why it's so important that we really talk about, especially the large mass wave of us that just awakened this right around COVID, okay? Because I believe that we were the quickest we were the wave that had to really wake up the quickest and make big changes happen because of the shift that was happening in the world. And a lot of our generations from before, from my observation, it took them many years to awaken. They spent many years researching. That also has to do with, electronic day and age, right? Because they didn't have the electronics that we had, right? They didn't have the capability of search engines. Am I right? So they had to do research in books. They had to do research in different ways. And one thing we have to realize is technology is changing, things are changing, and we have the capability to learn very quickly. And I'm going to tell you that it saved my life. Having the availability to have any book on hand I needed, any research I wanted to research, any video I needed to see, TikTok, Instagram, all the platforms were really beginning to become available for the talk of spirituality, for the talk of meditation and crystals and what's really going on in the systems, okay? And we were in this weird transitional moment while going through COVID, okay? So you've got people at home that are actually being forced to question things for once, okay? We've got a complete virus that has shut down the world. People are locked in homes, ordered to stay home from work, being demanded to test, being demanded to get vaccines. It's actually really crazy to think about, even reflecting now, and it happened so short time ago. Okay, and I still don't think it's completely over. We had to be forced to wear masks. There was a lot of things that were affecting our rights, that were getting people to question things. So I really do look at COVID as an absolute blessing, because it truly changed my life. It truly got me to question and reflect and get me to the place that I'm in now, to the position I'm in now with my forever divine counterpart partner. And I have so much to share about being on the twin flame journey, about being a mother, about really making the ultimate sacrifice and having everybody completely abandon you. And I'm really here to talk about, in the Bible, Jesus talks about, his death and rebirth, and he died at 33 years old. And I reflect a lot on that as I'm going through my 33, my death and my rebirth. And I reflect on how, Jesus tried to tell the people what was up. Jesus tried to tell the people to go within, that God is within, that you can find everything within. And things have been so twisted, and I feel like we're kind of getting this new opportunity to share, I guess, what you would like to categorize around religion, what you would like to categorize into something, and really open your mind to not having to put it in a complete box, not having to put it in a complete category, such as individualism around your religious beliefs. And it's really beautiful that I'm even allowed to sit here and speak freely about what I've been through with ayahuasca and what I've been through with plant medicine and hallucinogenics. And I'm going to share it with you all. What mushrooms have done and what really opening my mind and my consciousness has done to change my life completely. I am not the person that I used to be anymore. And with yesterday being my birthday, I spent a lot of time in reflection mode. I spent a lot of time actually being proud of my avatar for how I've played this game. And recognizing that I woke up and realized that this is the game that we have to play. And in order to do that right, you have to release all fears. You have to release all expectations of what that perfect life looks like for you, and realize that there is a divine plan that is greater than you, and everything is about synchronicity and alignment. And your job, my friends, is just to follow your heart each and every day, to act on your true passions each and every moment. And recognizing that when you do that, that's you in the flow, and it puts you in these positions and it puts you in these places where that if you are acting on your truest desires, you will align with your truest timeline. And it takes patience, and it takes work, and it takes self-reflection, self-realization, self-criticism. But when you can master them all, when you realize that emotions are your strongest ability, your strongest superpower, and when you recognize that as a society, we've taught each other to suppress emotions. We've been taught ourselves that emotions aren't okay. And as I moved along on my journey, the more Reiki I did, I became a Reiki master. I became a Reiki master teacher. I recognized my healing abilities. I recognized my mediumship. I recognized how connected and in tune I am, and every single client I connected and I got deeper with. And I started to recognize that there is work that needs to be done between the divine and between the souls that are here. And there's a moment in time that is coming where we're going to be working together. And we need to start documenting and recording and leaving things behind for the generations that are coming. We need to leave behind our generational wealth for the future. That is what we are here to do. We are not here to teach, to slave and continue to slave until you're 62 years old, and then you're sick and your money's going towards a disease, and you can't travel or go anywhere or do anything because of the life you've lived. We have to recognize that we're meant to live blissful lives. We're meant to live lives of art and creation and love. You're meant to see peace and feel peace every day. And it's time to wake up and accept that 90% of us aren't feeling it each day, aren't even understanding what you're feeling. People feel anxiety and don't question or understand where it comes from. A lot of people don't understand the astrology and the energies in the air. They don't understand how everything affects us. Everything is in cycles and alignment, and the energies affect us all. Your thoughts, your words or spells, every moment, everything you do affects your reality. And when you can become the complete observer of that, when you can become the complete observer of every single thing you do, every move you make, every feeling you get, every thought you get, you become the observer of yourself. You become the complete observer of the people around you. You then realize that we are all one. That there is a little bit of you in everybody. You're mirroring the person right next to you for a reason. You're mirroring that relationship for a reason. If you're not 100% where you want to be, that's because there's decisions that you haven't made yet. There are things, there are passions, there are fires that you haven't followed yet. And I think that's where people get caught up on how do I manifest and what do I need to do. You literally just need to live your life, but you honestly have to become better each day. And with that, you have to gain knowledge on what better is. You have to educate yourself. I traveled the world in seek of knowledge because I didn't know how to cook food. I grew up eating grilled cheese sandwiches. I didn't know what a loving family looked like. I came from a broken home. We all had different dads, and I didn't have a father growing up. And every father that stepped in broke my trust. And so my mother and father wound were so deep that I really didn't realize how much it was projecting onto my everyday life, and how the situation I was in had everything to do with that. It's all a full cycle, and I realized that as a parent, I had so much more responsibility now, not only for myself, but for other human beings, for these little humans that they were one day going to grow up and subconsciously make decisions because of the environment that I raised them in, because of the environment that I put them in. And that changed my perspective completely. I began to seek knowledge in everything. Vaccines, circumcisions, everything. I was clueless, honestly, in it all. I just thought that I had it all figured out. I just thought that you would figure it out as you go, and that wasn't the case. I had taught myself to just move on so quickly and suppress my emotions through every difficult situation that I think there was a point in my life that I didn't even cry anymore. I couldn't even take myself there because I had been there so much. I was borderline like accepting that fate of this is just how my life is meant to be. Hearing those subconscious, hearing the ego, the fear come forward, right? As soon as I start to take a couple steps forward into this new life of I deserve better, I deserve the best, you want to take those steps back. And one thing I realized, which it's really hard to word it this way, but what I realized is a lot of my behaviors and choices were addictions. And I just thought that addictions meant substances, drugs, alcohol. But I learned, and I had to become so humble around the fact that me choosing certain partners, me choosing situations, relationships, was because I liked the game. I liked the chaos. I didn't know any better. I liked the emotionally unavailable. Those were all the things that I sought and subconsciously in a partner. But as I began to heal, I realized that I no longer aligned with my partner. I no longer aligned with my friends. And I felt even more alone than I felt before. I've always been the black sheep, the one that doesn't fit in, the one that is always shining too fucking bright. Pardon my French. There are so many things that I had to learn about myself. And I did it, I feel like on hyperdrive. I did it in a stage of survival mode of not knowing what the heck else to do. And I did it alone, but I documented it all. And I'm so excited because, again, this is how I want to share it with you. This is how I want you to see me. And I want to leave something behind for my kids. And I want to leave something behind for the future generation that is seeking higher knowledge. Because I don't know it all. But I do know that I'm here and I'm being called to document everything I do know as I gain that knowledge. And every time I think I get close to knowing some sort of any bit of closeness of anything, I get surprised with a whole new perspective, with a whole new lesson, with a whole new image on life. We are all one. We are all the observers observing each other. And when you can come to this place of true and absolute forgiveness of thyself, of others, you can reach this place where you can be the observer. You can be many observers. And then it becomes fun. Then you get to play the character you really want to play. You get to take away all of the parts that aren't you anymore. And you get to accept that it is okay to be whatever character you want to be in any moment. And when you release that expectation, there's this weight that just kind of comes off, but it doesn't come easy. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens again with programming your mind, your subconscious. Each day showing up for yourself and recognizing that whether you're a people pleaser or not, you probably haven't been showing up for yourself. We were never taught how to nurture ourselves. And that was something I had to go on this walk to discover. How do I nurture myself? How do I take care of myself? What do I want? What are my needs? Who am I? I didn't know if I was going through a midlife crisis or what was happening. But it's wild to look back and think about, because I appreciate and now I understand fully that everything happens for a reason. 100%. Everything is needed. And when you can come to that place of peace and releasing control, you can live in your flow state. And I have been so blessed to be living in my flow state and being able to share what that looks like and what that feels like, honestly and authentically, has truly changed my life and given me more healing than you could ever imagine. And when you recognize that sometimes your life is the story, there is no bigger meaning or bigger purpose. It's just you and telling who you are, and uniquely in a creative way. Because when you recognize that we're all aligned and we all have a collective, and that's what I recognized when I went on TikTok and I started to do readings for the collective, and I found my people that aligned with me, with my messages. I recognize that when you put your energy out, that you will align with your soul family, that's how it works. And we need to use these tools and this technology to help each other find each other. My ears are ringing loudly. There's good and bad in everything. It's what you choose to make it. It's what you choose to create out of it. The internet is going to come with good and bad things. AI is going to come with good and bad things. This higher advanced technology, right? There's always going to be somebody that's going to ruin it. But that's part of the balance. It's part of free will. It's part of the change. It's part of growth. It's part of lessons. It's part of learning. It's part of this game. So wake up and recognize that you get to level your avatar however you want. And I can't wait to share the level up experience that I've experienced. becoming a healer, becoming a shaman, becoming a mother, becoming a partner, becoming the best version of myself, becoming somebody that I can become proud of, that I can say that I am truly, authentically living each day, and I am so proud to say that because I wasn't anywhere close 2 years ago. So, I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. It was another beautiful experience of the Ayahuasca Chronicles. Again, I am Brittany the Great, and I love you. Stay true to yourself. Stay authentic. Be love everywhere you go. It's the message of the day. I love you.